Welcome into Outkick, the show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis. I hope all of you have had fantastic weekends. I hope you won a lot of money gambling on college football and the NFL. I hope you're looking forward to Chiefs-Rams going on tonight, Monday Night Football, massive matchup of two 9-1 teams. I hope you go get the best possible number wherever you may be across this country or across this world. Go to sportsbookreview.com, sportsbookreview.com. Get the best number anywhere. The number matters. As many of you know who lost close games over this past week, a half point can often make a big difference. We're going to get to the ending in Ole Miss Vandy, which completely ruined what would have otherwise been an okay gambling weekend. Not extraordinary for the picks, just 50-50 basically, but we should have made money. Instead, we were robbed. I'll get to that in a moment. I also want to tell you, my guy Ryan Kelly, it's the holiday season. Many of you may not be at work today. Some of you are in college. You're on vacation already. My kids are already out of school. They're already down at the beach. I'm spending the holiday at the beach. I'll be down on 30A. We are doing a book signing at the Tattered Cover, I believe it is called, in Rosemary Beach on Saturday. I think it's Saturday. Anyway, go down there. Go to Rosemary Beach. There's a big sign out front. I think it's Saturday from 12 to 2. My wife called, said it was Friday. They've got a sign out saying it's Saturday. Basically, if you want an autographed copy and you're going to be on the beach, you can come by there and see me on Friday or Saturday, and there'll be lots of autographed copies of my book to buy there. Yes, the north side of Rosemary. There's a Regions Bank. It's on the opposite side of the Regions Bank on Barrett Square there. So if you guys are going to be down on the beach, some of you will. Some of you will be like me, spending Thanksgiving on the beach. And if you're going to be there, they have a sign out front right now. I believe it is Saturday from 12 to 2. I will be sitting there signing books. But if you are already starting to run up a substantial amount of debt, and a lot of people out there, I know the feeling. A lot of people out there right now are in this crazy economy already starting to spend money at a high level on all of your Christmas presents, on all of your Thanksgiving trips, Christmas trips, New Year's plans, everything else. Why not go ahead and get hooked up now with a great rate from my guy Ryan Kelly? Wipe out all of your credit card debt, get a 3 or 4% mortgage, thehomeloanexpert.com. Tell them that Clay Travis sent you, and you will be well on your way to saving a bundle before the end of the year. Put your financial house in order at thehomeloanexpert.com. That's thehomeloanexpert.com. They can save you a bundle, 3 or 4% interest. All right, let's go into the college football playoff rankings. They're going to come out, I believe, tomorrow, the latest edition. I'll give you mine, and then I will run through the 8 teams that are still alive for the college football playoff and what they need to do in order to make the college football playoff. Let's start with Alabama. They are the unquestioned best team in college football right now. I actually believe that Nick Saban's team getting a little bit of a challenge from Citadel is the best thing that can happen to them. That's why so many of the idiots that were out on social media like, oh, this proves Bama's not very good. No. What it proves is Nick Saban can now grab them by the scruff of the neck and say, listen up. This is what happens when you don't play very well. You get whipped. Even though it's tied at 10, they never really had a legitimate chance to lose that game. They end up blowing out Citadel. Alabama's the unquestioned number 1. How does Alabama make the college football playoff? Simple road. Beat Auburn and beat Georgia. Honestly, they could lose to Auburn. As long as they beat Georgia, they would be in the playoff. I think Alabama is in the playoff if they beat Auburn. Even if Georgia beats Alabama, I think the committee will not be able to say Alabama is not one of the best 4 teams in all of college football. So I think all Alabama has to do, really, is split their final 2. If Bama goes 1-1 in the final 2, they are in the playoff. You're not going to convince me that they are going to be left out of the playoff. Now, I think they're going to win both these games, but they are going to beat Auburn this weekend, and then I think they'll beat Georgia, that's what you should be rooting for if your team is on the periphery or someone that you root for is not right now in the Final Four. Second spot, Clemson. What does Clemson need to do? Now, I don't think Clemson has the same easy pathway that Alabama does. I think if Clemson were to lose to South Carolina or if they were to lose to Pittsburgh, I'm not sure Clemson gets in because the overall resume of the ACC is not very good. They may have one top 25 win when the new final polls come out. So I think that Clemson needs to win both of their games. If they do, they will be 13-0. Okay? In the third spot, Notre Dame, I should say, has the simplest role of all because they only have one game left and they know exactly what they need to do. They need to beat USC. The Trojans are falling apart down the stretch. They just got beat by UCLA. Chip Kelly starting to get it rolling already at UCLA. They just won the massive game between USC and UCLA. All that Notre Dame has to do to guarantee themselves a spot in the college football playoff is go out and beat USC in LA this weekend, and Notre Dame can kick their feet up. They're the equivalent of a golfer that has already posted a score, and they will just kick their feet up, and they will be set. Nothing to worry about. I think there's a good chance Clay Helton gets fired right after that. I really do. Some of you out there can argue otherwise. I think it's unlikely Clay Helton gets to come back for another year if the team goes 5-7 this year. All right? So that's what is going to happen for Notre Dame. I think they go beat USC. I think they're in the playoff. In the 4th spot, if Michigan beats Ohio State and then beats Northwestern, I think you're going to be hard-pressed to have anybody jump over Michigan. I think the Wolverines need to beat Ohio State this weekend. They are 4-point favorites in this game. First time Ohio State has not been favored since I think all the way back in 2014 when they played Alabama in the college football playoff. I think that's correct. So they need to beat Ohio State in the shoe, and then they need to advance and beat Northwestern in the Big Ten title game. In my 5 spot right now, I've got Georgia. How does Georgia make the college football playoff? Georgia needs to beat Georgia Tech, and then they need to advance to the SEC title game and pull off the upset over Alabama. If Georgia wins their next 2, they are in. If they lose any, they are out. Not complicated. Michigan, by the way, loses any, they are out. If Notre Dame loses to USC, they potentially could still make the college football playoff. That's an intriguing story. In the 6th spot, Oklahoma. Oklahoma is now a 1-point underdog on the road in Morgantown against West Virginia. If Oklahoma beats West Virginia and then likely gets a rematch against Texas, Oklahoma would be right up there with Michigan, right on the edge of making the college football playoff. Their claim would be strengthened substantially by arguing that they had gone back and vanquished the team that beat them in Texas. Okay? That's what Oklahoma needs to do. In the 6th spot right now, I have got Washington State. Sorry, 7th spot, I've got Washington State. In the 6th spot, I've got Oklahoma. In the 7th spot, I've got Washington State. What needs to happen for Washington State to pull off a run into the playoff? They first of all need to beat Washington this Friday in the Apple Cup, and then they need to go out and beat Utah in the Pac-12 championship game. If they pull that off, if they pull off both of those wins, they also need Oklahoma to lose one of 2. They need probably the Big Ten. They probably need the Big Ten. They need Michigan or Ohio State to lose in the Big Ten championship game so that there is a 2-loss Big Ten or 4-loss Big Ten champion or whatever else. That's how Washington State gets into the playoff. There are also murkier parts there. What happens if Notre Dame were to lose? What happens if Clemson were to lose? But I think what likely needs to happen is need to get an upset of West Virginia. Then you need whoever wins the Michigan and Ohio State game to get upset by Northwestern, which, by the way, I don't think is crazy, okay? And then in the 8th spot, I've got Ohio State. What does Ohio State need to do to make the college football playoff? I think what Ohio State needs to do is beat Michigan, Then they need to beat Northwestern. Then they would need for Oklahoma to lose. And then I think there's a good chance they would jump Washington State in my rankings and into the college football playoff as the 4 seed. Now, on Ohio State, I don't believe anybody else really has a chance to make the college football playoff. I really don't. I think those are the 8 teams that are fighting for the 4 spots. Okay, a lot of you out there love to go with chaos theory. What is the most difficult situation the college football playoff committee could face? Alabama, 12-1, loses to Georgia. 12-1, Georgia wins the SEC. 12-1, Oklahoma wins the Big 12. 12-1, Michigan wins the Big 10. 12-1, Washington State wins the Pac-12. And Notre Dame loses to USC to go 11-1. Then you would have 7 teams. I think it's 7 teams. I think that's 7 teams, all with either 12 wins and also Clemson loses, by the way. Clemson loses to either South Carolina or Pitt. Then you would have 7 teams, all with either 12 wins or 11 wins in the case of Notre Dame, all of whom would end up with 1 loss as well. That becomes a really difficult situation for the college football playoff committee. So we will see whether or not chaos beckons. Let me hit Urban Meyer here for a second. I hope Urban Meyer gets healthy. I hope that he feels stupendous for the rest of his days. But there is no way that any reasonable person who is watching college football can defend Urban Meyer's behavior on the sideline in that Maryland game. Urban Meyer was intentionally drawing attention to how poorly he supposedly feels from a health perspective, so that I believe he can use his health as the reason why he's going to leave Ohio State at the end of the season, just like he did at Florida. That is what is going on at Ohio State. Urban Meyer built a program at Florida that won a lot of games but had no foundation. And as the foundation began to collapse, Urban Meyer skedaddled right out of Gainesville and blamed his health for why he couldn't coach anymore. The minute that Ohio State came open, miraculously, Urban Meyer got healthy again. It's an extraordinary series of events that Urban Meyer, who claims he's on death's doorstep when he's at Florida, sits out for a year, miraculously gets healthy, goes to Ohio State. What's happening at Ohio State is a mirror image for what happened at Florida. There is a poor foundation there. That foundation is starting to collapse. 6 most recent road games in the Big Ten. Gave up 55 points to Iowa, 49 points to Purdue, and just gave up 51 points to Maryland. This is a team that is slowly beginning a collapse. They were incredibly fortunate to beat Penn State on the road. They were incredibly fortunate if that Maryland quarterback just hits the wide open receiver on the 2-point play. Ohio State loses that game. They are collapsing around him, and rather than ride Ohio State down, Urban Meyer is going to do what he did at Florida. He's going to skedaddle right out of town just in time before the collapse occurs. I said on my radio show a while ago that if you follow Urban Meyer's career, what he may well do is sit out a year and then take another job. That's why I said, man, if USC sticks with Clay Helton, they're going to be trying to seduce Urban Meyer to come out to LA that entire time. And it fits with the overall Urban Meyer game plan, which is go to a conference that is at the bottom and get the best program there, or one of the best programs, ride it back up to the top, and then bail as soon as people catch up with what you're doing. It's exactly what he did at Florida. That's what he's done at Ohio State. That's what he could do at USC. Pac-12 right now very down, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if Urban Meyer decided to take $7 million a year and go to USC. I don't buy the health situation with Urban Meyer. You can say I'm an awful human being. I don't believe it. If he truly is so unhealthy that he is near collapse on the sideline, he shouldn't be coaching. He shouldn't be on the sideline at all coaching if he is as ill as he wants us all to believe based on his behavior. I just don't buy it based on the precedent set at Ohio State already and also on the precedent set at Florida. He's on his way out. I'm going to get to my SEC power rankings in a moment. But first, I got to tell you this. The ending of the Ole Miss Vanderbilt game was indefensible. I can't believe this is not a bigger story. Maybe because it was late on the night on Saturday. Maybe it's because nobody cares about Vanderbilt and Ole Miss except for a tiny smidgen of college football fans. Maybe it's because most people were not on the over in this game. But I got to tell you, the overturn of the Ole Miss touchdown catch is one of the most unbelievable calls I have ever seen in college football. There is no way that I can imagine to defend that decision that was made by the SEC. The on-field result is touchdown called. The guy took 4 steps. His ass hit the ground, A.J. Brown. He lifted the football. His elbow hits. All of those things happened after he caught the ball. For a long time, we have been told that college football does not have the same catch rules as the NFL. If this play happened, I want you to think about this for a minute. If this play happened in Alabama, Georgia, and Alabama won because this call was made, there would be riots all over the South over the bias that exists in the SEC. I think the SEC needs to explain exactly why that rule was made, why that call was overturned, and walk everybody through that process. Because I think that was a really bad look for the league. Again, I know what a catch is. That was a touchdown catch. Ole Miss should have been attempting an extra point to play on. Now, for Vanderbilt fans out there, and by the way, for people who say it doesn't matter, I do think it matters immensely the precedents that you set in games, even if they aren't as important. And I defended the league in all this targeting business because I think calling targeting is very difficult in general, and it puts everybody in a very difficult position. But in this situation, you are setting the precedent that was at what was, in my opinion, a clear touchdown. It was a clear touchdown that would have sent the game, assuming they made the extra point, into double overtime. You have to get that call right. And you cannot overturn that call. And I went all the way back to Jabbar Gaffney when they said in college football, you only have to have possession in the end zone for a very short amount of time. And they defended the Jabbar Gaffney touchdown catch back in like 02 or 03 or whatever year it was against Tennessee. This was the wrong call. And if it's the right call, it needs to be explained in extreme detail. Okay? Now, there are other people out there who are watching this game that also saw Vanderbilt get flagged for celebration after their overtime touchdown. First of all, I disagree with that call. Okay? But that was an on-field determined judgment call by an official. Here, the official standing right by that play called it a touchdown, and then they went into review and they took the touchdown off the board. Ole Miss then had to go for a touchdown on 4th down and was unable to score. This needs to be more explained. Okay? Definitely needs to be more explained. All right, let me give you my SEC power rankings. I don't even know how many of you were watching. I tend to think there weren't that many people watching this game late at night on Saturday. It totally got snowed under, as often happens with crazy endings on late night games because the weekend comes back. And so, by the way, if you're in here talking about LeBron, you're gone, bud. It's a November basketball game. All right? If I sit down to talk about November NBA basketball, just grab a nail gun and shoot me in the head with it already. Okay? It's November NBA basketball. Nobody cares. There is hardly anybody with a pulse that cares about November NBA basketball. If I happen to look over and see you talking about November NBA basketball, then I am going to block you, and you're not allowed to ever talk in the comment section again. We're in the middle of a college football playoff race. We got an incredible Monday Night Football game going on tonight between the Chiefs and the Rams. And you want to slide into my mentions and start talking about the NBA in November? Not even just a shot at the NBA. I'm not going to talk about hockey in November. I'm probably not going to talk much about college basketball in November. But at least it matters because it goes into seeding and it's a one-game season and the best teams play a lot fewer games. Do not step to me with LeBron James hot takes in November about the NBA. You are dead. You are no longer allowed to comment on my show. You, my friend, have violated the trust tree and you are gone. All right? There's a tiny segment of the sports audience that cares about November NBA basketball. I decide all the topics. I ain't your guy. All right? Unless something truly insane happens, like we get a Malice in the Palace, I'm not sitting around having legitimate discussions about what a November basketball game means going forward. All right? Here is my SEC power rankings. Right now, the SEC power rankings, 1 to 14. Bama 1, Georgia 2, LSU 3, Missouri 4. Missouri is going to blow out Arkansas, and Arkansas is going to finish 2-10, which will be the worst record that Arkansas has ever had, I believe, in the history of their program, in the SEC for sure. Missouri's really good. Pray for Arkansas. Florida 5, A&M 6, Kentucky 7, Mississippi State 8, Auburn 9, South Carolina 10, Tennessee 11, Vanderbilt 12, Ole Miss 13, Arkansas 14. Vanderbilt has opened, by the way, minus 3.5 at home against Tennessee. Think about what a crap position Butch Jones left behind at Tennessee. Tennessee has been an underdog in 9 games this season and has been the underdog in all 8 SEC football games by over a field goal in all of them. Vanderbilt is the smallest amount that we have seen so far Tennessee be an underdog in so far in the SEC. How bad did Butch Jones leave Tennessee in the shape of? The Vols have been an underdog in all 8 league games this year. They've won 2 of them. They managed to beat Kentucky, and they managed to beat Auburn. And I think they're going to beat Vanderbilt this weekend to get bowl eligible. That is the breakdown. Okay, that is my SEC power rankings. NFL reactions. Several different big NFL reactions. First of all, Frank Reich has created a monster with Andrew Luck. I loved Andrew Luck already. Now that he's back healthy, nobody can even touch him. He's been incredible behind that offensive line. Big takeaway. If Andrew Luck is not getting hit on every play, that guy's almost impossible to stop. I love what the Colts are doing right now, even though they made my Titans their bitch on Sunday. I love what the New Orleans Saints are doing. Drew Brees is posting the greatest season in the history of the NFL right now. That's not hyperbole. The greatest season in the history of the NFL right now for a quarterback. The Saints are sitting at 9-1. They just treated the Philadelphia Eagles like a JV squad. That was an epic beatdown, the likes of which you don't see a Super Bowl defending champion take very often. Tonight, in Rams-Chiefs, I would say there have been 3 teams that have consistently been outstanding. The Saints, the Rams, and the Chiefs. Everybody else, the Patriots get blown out by the Titans. The Steelers down 16-0 to the Jags before the wheels come off for the Jags, and the Steelers go steal their soul. The Bears, they got a good win against the Vikings, but they haven't been that impressive in terms of the overall season. They've lost to most of the good teams they've played against. The Texans win every game by like 2 points. They have won 7 in a row, but every one of them, it feels like, has come down to a field goal effectively at the very end of the game. I don't believe there are very many good teams. I think there are 3 good teams in the NFL this year. I think everybody else is just a pretender. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen tonight. I'm on the over, one of the biggest overs in NFL history, 63.5. I'm taking the over. And I am on the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs get it done and win outright on the road tonight, Monday Night Football. Spectacular game for the NFL. Couple of other thoughts on the NFL. Cam Newton can't miss that throw. You go for two. Riverboat Ron Rivera decides to go for two against the Lions. You got a guy flash wide open in front of you. You can't miss it. It was almost as bad as the missed throw by Maryland, but it was arguably worse because Cam Newton's an NFL quarterback. He can't miss that. Okay? On top of that, as if that were not enough, other reactions from last night, yesterday. The Dallas Cowboys may well win the NFC East. I feel awful for Alex Smith. Ugly, 33 years to the day. Same score of a game, broken leg. I was awful to look and see what Alex Smith's leg looked like. That was really hard to see happen live or on the NFL Red Zone as I was watching it transpire. The Fitzmagic is over. The Bucs are back to Jameis. That team is done. It's going to be ugly. The Eagles have fallen apart. Let me pull up the rest of my NFL hot takes that I sketched out here. As I was watching all those games, I took notes on my phone. The Ravens. You cannot run Lamar Jackson 27 times or 22 times or whatever the heck he did. He won't last very long in this league. You cannot run a quarterback that many times. Lamar Jackson got to develop into a pocket passer or else he's going to get wrecked as he tries to run around on the field. The Jags done. I think probably a good chance Tom Coughlin's going to go in and completely remake that entire franchise. I think they're going to try to move Jalen Ramsey, and I think they're going to be done with Blake Bortles. That team is broken, fundamentally broken, Jacksonville Jaguars team. And the Chargers gave one away. Makes me wonder, I was talking earlier about good teams. Chargers have won a lot of close games. They finally lost a close game to the Broncos. How good are they? I'm not convinced necessarily that they're that great. Have no idea what Phillip Rivers was doing on third down with 2 minutes left. I think he was just trying to troll everybody out there who had bet on the Chargers to end up killing him in that situation. No idea what he was doing. Mark Sanchez has been signed by the Redskins. A lot of people saying, why aren't they signing Colin Kaepernick? The answer is pretty simple. Because do you want to sign a tremendous distraction to come into your team with 6 games left, 6-4, and have them show up and take a knee on Thursday on the NFL broadcast while everybody's sitting around eating Thanksgiving dinner? No. Colin Kaepernick made his decision. He sued the NFL. Everybody out there who's like, what? Every time somebody gets hurt, they're like, why don't you bring back Colin Kaepernick? It's literally one of the worst decisions the NFL could make. They're just now getting over the 2-year disaster of Colin Kaepernick and getting people back focused on football. The last thing anybody wants is Colin Kaepernick returning to the NFL. All right. My name is Clay Travis. This has been Outkick the show. I appreciate all of you coming and hanging and watching out the show. I'll be on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then I'm headed down to the beach. I will be doing a book signing, Rosemary Beach. You can come by and grab this. Oh, yeah, somebody said, what is your thoughts on your boy Klatt saying Murray is a front runner for the Heisman? Joel Klatt has lost his mind. Joel Klatt has lost his mind arguing that Kyler Murray is the favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. I won on Lock It In. Again, I'm your king. I'll have my crown on. I am placing a bet for guaranteed money for Tua Tagovailoa to win the Heisman Trophy. That is one of the most ridiculous opinions I've ever seen Joel Klatt have, and that is saying something that he believes that Kyler Murray is the favorite to be the Heisman Trophy winner. Absolute insanity from Joel Klatt. Yes, I won Lock It In again. 3 straight weeks, baby. I may never lose again on the show. And I get a futures pick, and I am taking Tua to win the Heisman Trophy. He's minus 420 to win the Heisman Trophy. If Joel Klatt really believes Kyler Murray is the favorite, he should take every dollar he has and put it on Kyler Murray because the guy's like plus 650 right now. I am here to tell you that is a ludicrous opinion. We all have crazy, dumb opinions at times. That's a crazy, dumb opinion of Joel Klatt. No idea what he's thinking to argue in any way that Kyler Murray is the favorite. Yes, 3 weeks in a row, I have won Lock It In. A little bit of a preview for you there. I'll have the crown on my head in a little over an hour when we tip off Lock It In, 3:30 Central my time, 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 on the West Coast, 2:30 Mountain. I will see you guys. Kisses. My name is Clay Travis. This has been Outkick, the show. DBAP, unless you need to SBAP. See y'all. Whitlock's the guest on Lock It In today.